Rotary Park in Cape Coral, Florida. We're going to do a few photos, some landscape photos mostly, overshoot some of the ponds which are back there. You have to walk down some pretty muddy trails because of the recent rains. Today we did bring the Sony, as usual. It's the main camera I have at this point, and a Pentax 50mm lens. Now this lens was made back in '84, so everything on its manual, from the aperture to the focusing, everything, and there's an adapter here allowing it to connect to the camera. So we'll be running in full manual mode. This right here, this is a Coast Video tripod, which was left behind at one of the houses that we're renovating, and it's an extremely solid, not real super lightweight, but it's very solid when you set it up, even with all the legs extended. I also have the map of the place that I printed out from their website. This will help us know where we're going. The green circles are areas of interest, and I'm going to be using a red dry erase or wet erase marker to be able to mark what my f-stops were for each shot, because like I said, that's a manual lens. It's not communicating with the camera. It will not record that data. The other thing, we've got our Low Pro backpack that was won in a giveaway through Landscape Photography magazine. It just arrived this morning. Perfect timing. Thank you again. And so with that being said, we shall start journeying down the trail. So we walked down this little paved trail here to where we're going to be going in, and just to give you an idea of the kind of stuff I'm going to be going through. Here's one of the trails, and it kind of starts out a little soupy. Hopefully it'll be drier back there. If not, and thank you to the Eagle Scouts at Troop 34 for maintaining this. If you're wondering about all the clanging and stuff, that's the tripod that this camera is hooked to, and it's banging against the other camera tripod, which will be holding the Sony once we get to where we're going. Making your way through here, be really careful. You never know what's going to be around the next bend. We do have bobcats and Florida cougars in the area, and we also have tegu lizards. And that's just to name a few things. Basically anything that can kill you, you will find in Florida. And we do have a group of coyotes running around the area that has been sighted recently. So just kind of taking our time. I'm kind of hoping that the weather holds out. As you can see, it's kind of cloudy and dismal today, but it's been raining off and on all morning. But we'll see what's going on anyway. If not, I've got a rain pouch for the camera bag, and I thought I grabbed an extremely extra large Ziploc bag to throw anything extra into, but I think I left that back at the house. Oh well, sucks to be me if it rains. Nice part though is with it, it's swamped and flooded as it is. I know it's looking like a couple inches, but usually this is dry. Anyway, because of that, we shouldn't have too many people interrupting us. Usually people will either bring their dogs back here for walking them or whatever, what have not. Teenagers come back here and do things they shouldn't. You know how that goes, being a kid. But anyway, oh yeah, right up to the shin. That was a deep one. All right, we're still going. Take all night to dry out my boots from this, but not the best day to come out here. Ah, cool, dry ground finally. All right. I spoke too soon. Go figure. Mosquitoes are absolutely nuts today, which to be expected. Stagnant water stinks. I hear frogs croaking in the background. And we're going back right down this little river that at one time was a walking trail. Dang, I think I should have brought my wetsuit for when I was dredging up in Georgia. Oh Lord, I could probably swim there quicker than I can walk through here. Oh well, that's what they make washers and dryers for, right? Steel toes in these boots may rust a little bit, but there's a reason I wore those, just in case. Better to have your toes protected and not need it than to not have it and have something try to take a chunk out of you. Yeah, we will definitely be alone back here. You can see the trail needs to be trimmed back a little bit again. And the weather just has not been cooperating with us. So Miss Nancy, if you're watching this, I feel your pain with the flooding of South Carolina right about now. Believe me. But we go through this to have a little bit of enjoyment. And our first stop should be coming up here pretty soon. I'm just kind of taking my time going through here. Like I said, you don't know what's going to jump out at you. I got the map here in my hands. Alright, so we went around the bottom of one pond. And we are heading over to the other one, which actually has a place set up for bird watching and such as that. It should be right through this clearing here, if I'm right. If not, I need to get myself back into Boy Scouts so I can learn to read the map again. And yeah, I'm a little bit out of breath. It's been a while since I've been on these kind of hikes, for one. And number two, it is 80-something degrees and muggy as can be. Alright, here we are, coming up to the first one. Oh, wow. Yeah, there's not going to be any going out there to that today. That's for sure. But we will still do what we can here to get a couple of photos at least. Nice thing about stiff weeds is they'll hold up your clipboard just fine. Let me get these legs extended, and I'm gonna cut the video out while I get everything set up real fast. Alright, so now we got the camera set up. We do have our wireless remote trigger set up on top here. This is a JJC completely wires. It runs off of this tiny little remote, but it's great because it's completely wireless. You won't have any camera shake, and it's good for anywhere up to, I want to say, as far as I've tested anyway, 15 foot away, which with the way people are nowadays, you don't just leave the camera and walk 15 foot away. Anywho, on the front of this lens, I have a circular polarizer to try to cut down on some of the glaring and such like that. I mean, it'll still produce a really nice looking photo, and some of you may wonder why I chose to use an old manual lens with an adapter versus one of the newer electronic lenses. With the way the wind's been around here lately, the trees moving in the background would actually confuse the focusing system. And I found that this lens more accurately represents the colors in the pictures taken. For one, it's got a lot sharper image. I found that with an f-stop of around f11, it's like the sweet spot of this lens, which is plenty depth of field for something like this. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to shoot 3 separate photos, one at regular exposure, one up above, one below, and I'll put it into Photoshop once I get back to the house, merge them together in HDR Pro to be able to pull out all the little details and shadows and highlights and shit, you know, stuff like that, and it'll look a lot nicer. So now we're going to set the f-stop here. We'll see if I can do this. Alright, right now it's on 22. We want to go to around 11. And yes, there's no clicking in there. I took the spring-loaded clip out of it. Don't recommend somebody just taking their lens apart to do it, but you know, with the right tutorial and everything like that online, it's really not all that difficult to do. Alright, and here we go. This is the back of the camera, and we're gonna start getting our frame image all framed up here. And I know you probably can't see it, and I apologize for that, but we're gonna run at ISO 100, and right now I do have it set for 1/100th of a second for exposure time. I gotta adjust the polarizer here, see how it's changing that image a little bit. Alright, right about there. Alright, and like I said, it's a completely overcast day. There's, you got clouds moving in and everything like that. So what I'll probably end up doing here is I'm gonna change the exposure down just a hair, and there we go. See, yeah, that's nice. That's a lot better. Now I can change the f-stop, brighten that up a little bit, but I really want to keep the clouds there first. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get that focused in. So I got to push this to zoom in, move it up here, reach around the front very carefully, and just twist a little bit until things start coming into shape. Now, since I know that I'm going to be running 1/250th of a second here because of the lighting here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out of this, and I'm going to change that up just a little bit here, and then re-zoom in. See, now I can see the tiny little details, which that's a little bit ahead of where I want to. There we go. That's roughly 1/3 of the way into the image. So here we go. Perfect. At least for me it is anyway, close enough. So we'll back out of that. Set the exposure back to 1/250th. And we'll take the shot. Alright. Now that that's done, we're just going to play around with this and bump it up just a hair, 2 stops. and then we'll snap the picture again. And then we'll go down here to 4 stops for the final exposure, which you can see it brought in the shape of the clouds there in the sky a little bit better, but darkened everything else out, and we're going to snap that. Now those 3 pictures will be combined into one in Photoshop. Onward and upward, as they say. Now that I got everything packed away to the best of my knowledge, I don't see anything left behind, so we will continue our little jaunt. Alright. I never know what in the world's going to be back here. Watch, I'll probably get bit by a snake or something. We do have moccasins down here, so I've got to keep an eye out. As I said before, if it can kill you, Florida probably has it. Hey, at least we're having a good adventure today, right? We got coming up here. Alright, so this is going to be another one of the ponds. That's the side here. And okay, I can see the observation booth way up there. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. So we're going to be heading that direction. That's probably going to be closed still. I don't know. Hope it's open, but I doubt it. We'll see what happens. Little fish and all that scooting through here. Alright, boards to walk on. Alright, dry feet for a few minutes. Let's see where the next trail goes. Still got to keep an eye out for snakes and everything else. And hey, cool, dry land finally too. Good, because my feet are flipping soaked. But we're going to keep going. You can tell where the low spot was. Alright, and this right here should lead us up to the observation tower area. See what happens anyway. I am not the most graceful of walkers, been through a few accidents in the past, so just kind of bear with the camera shake and the movement. Plus it's resting against my hip while I'm carrying another tripod and a map and backpack on my back and the camera around my neck. So this is not a large production. This is just me doing something different than what I would normally do. That felt great. Alright. And we're still going down the trail here. Under the various palm trees. I have no clue what their names are. But we are still making our way through. Alright, observation tower. Yep, it's chained off like I figured. Which, that sucks. It'd be nice to get up there and get an aerial shot from the place, but I'm not about to get in trouble doing so. It says tower temporarily closed by City of Cape Coral. Alright. Well, that's to be expected, right? Now here's another little bird watching viewing area. Last time I was over here, you could actually see the fish right off the bank here. They were building a nest. They were little peacock bass, and with a polarizer filter you can actually sometimes get, yeah, see, there they are. There we go. Where'd he go? There he is. Alright. So we're going to see if we can't maybe get a picture of him. So give me a few seconds here. I'll get everything set up and be on our way. Alright, we are lucky that he's staying in the area, probably to try to snack on some little fish here. And let's see here. Maybe I can get a few. Oh Lord, where'd he go? Of course. So let's see here. I'm not far from him on the zoom. There he is. Alright, now focus. Very nice. Alright, grab my release here. And there it is. Let's see. That's picture number 2. And photo number 3, which will get cropped down, of course, unless he moves back out a little further. No, of course not. He's gonna come towards me instead. And I'm not gonna try to spook him or anything like that. Refocus. Oh, don't move. Yeah, he's about as cooperative as they get, isn't he? Alright, so zoomed all the way in. This is definitely where one of those autofocus tracking lenses or continuous focusing lenses work real great. Not so much for my case here. Like I said, I like the color quality of this one a lot better.